And we're back with the Crucible, dude. Why am I so zoomed in?
It's so far into your forehead. Oh my god, I got
this?
jump scared for a second.
I'm backing
Jesus.
up. You know what? This is the wild card restart. I was gonna intro with this
Wait,
bit.
no, it isn't. No, it isn't. We're already trolling. It was 5 seconds in.
Dude, this is what happens. I get asked to cover a broadcast for Harrison, and everything just goes off the rails, off the ramp. Well, anyway, we're back with game number 2 of the night and the final quarterfinal match of the Crucible playoffs for this season. You just saw JJ and Co. take down Team Cruelty. That ruins a few people's predictions, but we've also got to figure out who the final team to go through is, whether it's Friendship Team or SpaceShoobs. Two teams that have been rather solid throughout the regular season of Crucible. And here you can see the rosters. We're rather familiar with these guys. Serious, obviously, since we've seen them in Element and in other various leagues. But SpaceShoobs have had a rather solid season for themselves, making playoffs.
Yeah, getting 2 wins in the regular group stage has kind of gotten them in very tough matchups, mind you. Almost every single one of them, except for their game against Shreds, went to basically overtime or very close to it. So it's been kind of just a tough fight for them no matter what. But then Friendship Team on the other end, losing Wi-Fi right after Element ended, and it's still zoomed in on your face.
Can we fix this? Can we
just roll it back? I don't need to keep seeing it.
I can't
But
do
back to
this,
the main
man.
point. Yardy, last minute. Oh my god. Just, all right. Not wildcard restart, by the way. This is Crucible. I don't know why we're highlighting that at the moment. Jesus. All right. Focus. We
gotta lock in. We gotta lock in.
Gotta lock in. Yardy is in for Friendship Team as a very last minute substitute because literally an hour before they kind of had to lock in their roster, they just picked him up and said, hey, we're playing with this guy. So it's like, okay, cool. We're playing with Yardy now. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect out of either of these teams because Friendship Team, runner-up in Element, but has been kind of just going through a whole lot of other players since then.
I can't take this serious. Can we get to the damn Batmans already? Can we just go straight to there? Because we have an Exceed interview. Okay, so we're gonna get to hear from Exceed. What am I?
Hi, I'm Exceed from SpaceShoobs, and I am the Flex IGL. Through groups, started off strong, won in overtime against QOR, which I think they're a great team. A really good team, so that was a big win for us. Then we went into the Cruelty game and lost 7-5. Again, I think they're a good team. I think the roster changes are interesting, but I think I'd love to play them again. I think we've kind of improved since then. Those were 2 games that we played with a sub, and then once we got our teammate back, I feel like everything takes a second to click back into place once we gotta get Scoob back. But then after that, it's soaring, and we get to start playing again. 2 rounds away from winning the group. We see that, and we know that we made mistakes and that we can improve on that. And Cruelty played a good game. I mean, I think they're favorites to win the entirety of the event. So for us to put up that performance that we did, and knowing that we could have even done better, it's nice to know that we can do better and that we can improve. And again, they play a good game, so hopefully we can get to play them again too. It's hard to beat, bro. Like, I think Pyrex dropped 22 or 23 on us. Like, I didn't think he was doing that, but he did. I saw the numbers at the end. I was like, are you shitting me? First game of playoffs is kind of a revenge match for us. Friendship Team, our ex-LG. They lost Wi-Fi. We played them back when they had Wi-Fi, and we were kind of in our honeymoon phase as SpaceShoobs, and we lost to them during SI qualifiers to like make the close portion, and we got destroyed. We got like 7-1. I think them losing Wi-Fi is so significant. I don't think people see that, but I'm looking forward to playing this team. I think as a team, if Scoob's filling up again, it's a chemo week, so we're hoping that he's filling up to playing when it comes around. Faith that we're gonna do well, and I'm excited to play them. I think they map pool wise we match up pretty similarly, so it'll be kind of fun just because it's gonna be like their best maps against our best maps, I would say. Shout out SpaceShoobs. Go to SpaceShoobs.com to get your SpaceShoobs merch. This shit's awesome and it is warm. I love it. And everybody in the community, you better love on SpaceShoobs. I don't think there's anything negative you could say about SpaceShoobs as an org.
You could also go to Wildcard. No free promos here. I'm not doing that.
We're not doing it. Stop
No free promos here. No, I'm playing only though. Nice to hear from Exceed. Obviously, a very great guy in the Siege community. Someone that I like to root for a lot. We pug stack sometimes. in like random T4 leagues. So it's nice to hear that they've got high hopes over there in the SpaceShoobs camp. As we get into the map veto, we're going to find out exactly where we go between these two teams. Of course, Exige highlighting that loss of Wi-Fi. Of course, Cade, you mentioned that Drip or Yardy is replacing him for this match and for this series. So that's some of the struggles that Friendship Team are going to have to work through. They lose one of their better veteran players and have to pick up Yardy, who is a veteran player, sure, but how long has it been since he's been in the competitive side of Siege? And how long is it going to be, for him to kind of get loosened up and get the dust off, get the rust off? As we see the first map is Clubhouse picked by Friendship Team. This is a map that they're rather comfortable and confident on. Cade, we saw them play this map a lot in Element and just in the past time overall.
And then the second map pick is Border picked by SpaceShoobs, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Mason, but I'm pretty sure they've only played this 3 times since like September of last year, and they're only 1-2 on it, so they don't have a ton of experience, and most of it not good, losing twice to Outlast and actually beating JJ and Co., which we just saw in the series prior, beating Cruelty on this map. So I don't really know how to feel about that. Bank or Decider map is kind of an interesting one as well, but the second map being Border, I'm a little bit interested about that, just due to the fact that SpaceShoobs and Friendship Team don't exactly love this map. I don't know how well both of them, in terms of their overall records combined, go. It's kind of just an odd map pick, because like they already mentioned, they have pretty similar map pool, and I do agree with that. A lot of their things kind of line up in terms of just what their preferences are. But for both of them, Border's kind of down low on that list.
Yeah, you gotta ask what type of prep SpaceShoobs are going into this map with. What do they know that Friendship, or what do they know about Friendship Team, right? Because Friendship Team aren't gonna know much about them if they've only played the map 3 times since September of last year. This team also going through different roster iterations. That's a long time to change your strategy. I don't know what the last time Border was actually picked for SpaceShoobs or they played on that map in general, but it could have even been a qualifier. So there might not be any VOD that's available for SpaceShoobs to actually for Friendship Team rather to take advantage of and show off, versus Friendship Team have played this map a little bit more often, at least in recent memory for myself. So maybe there's more presence there on that side, but it'll be interesting, especially getting into map 2. But first, let's talk about Clubhouse. This is a map that Friendship Team are very, very confident on. They've always been good here. It's one of their favorite maps. It's kind of a shocker that SpaceShoobs leave it up, but it looks like they went with their more standard map veto that they're more comfortable with as a team overall, rather than counter-banning Friendship Team.
SpaceShoobs also seems to really like, is a kind of similar to Exige's point of just really playing into the very similar map pool besides map number 2 of Border, but focusing on this one, this is definitely going to be a tough matchup for SpaceShoobs, even with the kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, kind of chaotic kind of 5th slot for Friendship Team kind of being filled in very last minute. This is still going to be a very comfortable map. 4 of these players know exactly how they like to play this map. They're very comfortable on it. So overall, it's just going to be a matter of who can get warmed up faster, who has a better strategy going into map number 1, and then can continue that momentum into map 2 of Border, and then possibly see map 3 of Bank. We'll just have to see if we can get that far. And this is a possibility of infinite overtime. And the last time I think I cast with you, Mason, the last time we got that, it was a barn burner on Clubhouse, funny enough.
No, don't bring up the trauma, man. You can't
I got to. I got to do that. Just at least once.
No. Well, what I will say is Friendship Team going to Clubhouse, this is a map that, at least from what I remember, watching them at Element a lot, their defenses, they really love to extend. They like to play all facets of the map. You can probably agree with me, Cade, that they really go for it on the extension. And I can't quite remember to my mind like which spot Wi-Fi particularly played. I feel like he was more of on the anchor side of things, so it shouldn't impact the team overall, because I know that one of their main roamers was like Kixrow, who would really be extended around the map. But if Wi-Fi was one of those people on those helper roles and those extension roles, that's really going to change how Friendship Team are able to work around the map, because if they decide to put Yardy on that role with Kixrow, how is that going to interplay between the two, right? And how is that going to work, as well as on their attacks, right? What roles was Wi-Fi covering? Kind of that flex supportive role, I feel like. So how does Yardy fill into that role, and how are Friendship Team's attacks going to be? Because they're going to be a little bit more I guess, pug style. You have 4 of your 5 core players, right? But still, one sub into the mix who's not really played with you, not really practiced with you, does change things up a bit when it comes to your plans and your strategy. And you don't have as much pocket plays as you did before.
Yeah, that's just kind of what we've got to figure out in the actual server itself. You can speculate all you want about where is Yardy going to play. Is he going to take up Wi-Fi's old spot and just kind of whatever the fifth has been doing so far for Friendship Team. But ultimately, don't really know until we finally see it. Deimos and Maverick being the first 2 bans of this map overall definitely makes a lot of sense. Maverick making sure you wanted to keep those walls closed for as long as possible. And Deimos, I believe that SpaceShoobs have been really loving to ban Deimos quite often in a lot of their games. They really don't want to have the other team get a lot of free info onto them, especially starting on the defense. So it makes a ton of sense that they want to get rid of him early on. And then Azami, making sure that you can get easily into rafters or gym, for example, just making it to where you don't have to clear as much utility. It's going to be very important on a map like Clubhouse, where utility is kind of king in a lot of areas. This is a very utility-heavy map. Violent Tuber out, just helping to speed up that process even further. But with the Maverick counter ban as well coming earlier, it's definitely going to just be a little bit harder for that main wall to get open since Bandit, Kaid, and Mute are still available, Mason.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of tactical play between the hard breachers. Oh, what is this background for spaceships that they're rocking? I've never seen this one before. Have you ever seen this one? Is this like a team one, or is this got to be like a battle pass background, right?
Yeah, I think, is that the Los background? I'm pretty sure I saw Exeech talk about it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Los. I'm pretty sure Los, they're only running the Los one because of the dog in the top right corner. So that's exactly why they're running it.
Hey, listen, that's fire. I like it. Well, we hop into the first round of Clubhouse, and this is kind of our testing runs, right? We get to see what these teams are prepared for, what they're bringing to the table. Of course, it's playoffs. They're playing for $7,500 of the prize pool. It's a lot of money. Okay, that's a lot of money to play for, especially in this neck of the woods, as well as with there being, I don't know when the next event, like major event, will run, but there's not going to be much for the next little while. So we go to the basement to start off on Clubhouse, but look how far extended the Shoobs are. You've also got Scoob rocking the Scopos, our favorite operator that we get to see on Clubhouse also often. Notably Cruelty running the Scopos. But Scoob's taking that pocket play out of is it Motumbo that usually is rocking? No, it's Ivan. It's Ivan. It's Ivan who's always rocking the Scopos.
Yeah, bring that up to Happy, and he will just go on a long tangent about how much. Yeah, just a little bit.
Crash out.
He might crash out just a little bit if you bring up Ivan on Scopos. Just anywhere, really. But regardless, this does allow SpaceShoobs to be very far extended, like you said, all across the map, especially Scoob on that Scopos can kind of dart around from both the extension up above, down back to the bomb site whenever he feels that pressure coming in. So it's just a matter of where is he playing at the moment? Currently, that's in the basement, still playing on site. Looks like he's one of the very few people besides Toaster that's still on site. And there is a big, heavy emphasis on this dirt play coming in very early on for Friendship Team. So it's definitely a good thing that he is still down here to make sure that Friendship Team can't make that really quick play, because they're getting a lot of map control very quickly, but still not really dealing with a lot of this roam game from up above. It's taking their sweet time just trying to figure out what's the weakest point.
And you can already see a little bit about how Friendship's strat book is going to have to alter and change. They've got Drip on the Monty working his way through dirt, applying some of that counter pressure, but Friendship Team are not clearing the full map. This is something that they typically do go for, and instead they're going very minimal, but you have to worry about the vertical play. Fortunately, Nick has the coverage onto Exceed from above, but Pixro did fall early on to Eli, who has now been dropped by Eddie. So a little bit of clearance happening now by Friendship Team, but it's really just SpaceShoobs being out of position, not being in the spots that they need to, and giving up free picks.
Just having to go full bunker onto this bomb site. They still have a mirror window down on this basement, but he peeks out behind it, completely giving up his position. Now Scoob just dies for no reason while the execute's starting to happen. Friendship Team now have full control of the areas they need, but a nice C4 coming in from Toaster shuts down the initial diffuser plant down to a 2v2. But Volsberg, the only one left, has no idea where the rest of the Silent is, and he is getting shut down by him on a nice execute by Friendship Team.
Yeah, and it just came down to Friendship Team having more bodies, having more time, knowing what they wanted to do with the push, SpaceShoobs being dispersed a little bit too far, not tightened up enough, but also the fact that they gave up a few free bodies probably unnecessarily. Friendship team weren't doing anything special to clear the map. They weren't doing anything crazy, for that full clear, not a lot of drone work or anything. They were just working picks. They were getting into kitchen, getting dirt control, but they never full cleared through CCTV and through master bedroom, which is typically what we see teams do nowadays. So it's a shock to see SpaceShoobs lose those lives, but they just beat default angles. You had one player die in Logi just staring down through holes that, like, well, if you know there's holes there, you know there's probably a player in Logi. It's very easy for friendship teams to telegraph what SpaceShoobs are doing on the defense.
That's kind of just the big thing in that round. It's just a lot of things, just either very bad timing from a player trying to drop down that photo hatch, or just kind of getting picked off unnecessarily, like you said, just peeking out behind the mirror window. Completely unwarranted. There was no reason for him to do that, but yet he still tries to do that anyway, tries to find that free pick, but ends up getting punished for it, so now completely shifting to a completely different bomb site, going to gym bedroom, and once again, still trying to play into this very far roam. Volsper down in that oil pit, just trying to see if he can find a free pick onto somebody just coming in from garage, trying to catch him off guard. Currently nobody there yet. I don't know if they're actually going to be able to get this bandit trick off. They're doubling up on this to make sure that he can actually get this off, but friendship team have the information onto this guy. They just need to clear him off, or at least put some pressure onto him so he's not feeling as comfortable, and he will start to fall back.
But Scoops can still play inside of cash. He can still hold a fair amount of control, but he does waste time doing this. And you can see how worried friendship team are about that pressure from the bandit. As now finally that CCTV wall gets open, but that's 50 seconds of the round down and one exothermic. So it's taking time, and there's shock drones. Both shock drones now are gone as well from Kicksrow. So you've lost the Twitch drone utility. A lot of important gadgetry used up very early on. Now, fortunately, you still have the Selma gadget in Pocket of Drip, as well as Eddie getting open the jacuzzi wall. Now that mirror on bathroom should get opened up nicely. So friendship team's still making nice progress of this round thus far.
The only bit of concern is just how easily friendship team is able to start picking apart all this utility on the site. There's not really any emphasis from Scoob to try to deny these Ace Selmas from opening up that bathroom wall, for example. And if Silent is able to just walk straight at the one roamer and walk up the main stairs, this may be a free execute for friendship team.
Oh, and it's just the lurk plays that have worked so well for friendship, as now SpaceShoobs are confined to Logi. They've completely lost the control of their own bomb site. Siege fights back from the construction door and does manage to pick off Eddie. Pace will drop for the time being, but Yardy immediately recovers, gets the kill onto Siege. Scoob falls as well, and it's all down to Eli in a 1-on-3. Finds one, but has to pull out the carrot toss. Looks to get Yardy, but after getting the plant down, it's an easy kill for the Ace to clean up. Nice couple kills there in his pocket to get warmed back up into the competitive swing of things. Friendship team, a very, very nice and crafty attack.
And just again, it feels like they're not being very well contested by SpaceShoobs on the roam. They're not feeling a whole lot of pressure. Silent literally just walked right at Volsper on those main stairs, and then continued to walk up further beyond that after he got that first kill. Felt no pressure. He had the confidence that somebody was watching the main stairs angle from up above after that jacuzzi wall was open. And then because of the fact that SpaceShoobs can't play in bathroom because nobody denied that Ace Selma from opening up that mirror window, they just lost so much control of the bomb site itself that by the time friendship team took that initiative to move up and they locked into barely part of Logi, they have no real angles to kind of counteract these pushes coming in from friendship team. So they're just running out of space, running out of pressure to establish, and SpaceShoobs just cannot seem to really deny that execute in any good fashion. They put up 2 kills, but it's ultimately not enough. They're just impactless frags at the very end of it because friendship team just executed phenomenally in that round.
And it's really been interesting because once friendship team gets that initial pick, it's just enough to crack through SpaceShoobs on their defense to find the gap and just go. So it seems like friendship team, although they're playing with a sub, have that information game still flowing very nicely as they typically do. Obviously, the lurk from Silent has been rather strong. 5 kills through the first 2 rounds is a very, very solid play. But even then, their sub, Yardy, 3 kills through the first 2 rounds, clearly having impact early on.
And ultimately, just like you said, that information is just proving to be so effective for friendship team. They already get the drone onto Volsper, and Kickstar is there for the immediate shutdown. for some other pick, but is going to be hunted down by Bulin, who's just going to be running him down. He knows exactly where he is, spots him in the shower, tries to go for the melee, is getting lit up, but eventually gets it down. Exige tries to find one, but it's only Toaster left in a 1v4.
Everybody falls trying to help Scoob on the upstairs roam. And again, the extension just is fatal for the defense themselves. So Shoobs, they're going to have to look to reorganize themselves after this round because there's Kicksrow in the bomb site. Toaster has no idea. Shoobs are going to have to completely restructure, completely reorganize. You see, they've requested the timeout. They're going to take their pause. They're going to have to figure out some sort of way to adapt. And honestly, I think they just need to tighten themselves up. With a substitute, it becomes much more difficult to isolate players because you have to guide them around a little bit more as the IGL. So Eddie probably leading the charge for the team, trying to have to position Yardy as well as everybody else. It's going to be more difficult. So if you just stack up and you make it more difficult to clear when you've got 3-4 bodies in the same spot, I think Friendship Team will arguably struggle more than they will with the extension, which is basically find a little bit of a gap and then it just completely tears wide open.
I mean, and this is something that I saw in their game against Cruelty that Exige highlighted, where I think he said Pyrox that dropped 22 on them or something like that. But either way, something that I noticed in that game is that a kind of similar story here is that when they got kills, it was because they gave up so much space, and then Cruelty were able to just kind of explode onto the bomb site after finding one pick, and it was on a pivotal part, finding that gap and then just exploding upon it with every single body that they have. And it's proving to be a big problem even against Friendship Team, even with that sub. So SpaceShoobs, like you said, do really need to kind of shorten things up, kind of play a little bit more concise, play around each other more, because something that's been kind of been a trend so far through these first 3 rounds is that when that first pick dies, there's no sense of a trade. There's almost nothing for response from SpaceShoobs. They're kind of playing very far apart. So when they get that first pick from Friendship Team, there's just nobody there to try to get that trade, try to get a little bit of response, to try to maintain that map control. So like you said, just trying to play a little bit more concise could really help them out in this very end.
And I think last round they tried to go for the trades, right? But what they struggled with was the actual positioning. Like, they were still too spread out. They were still not, like, next to each other. And ultimately, they didn't have the information to be able to know when they were getting pushed. Like, the communication just seems to be a significant issue on the Shoob side of things. And, well, Scoob will run out and nearly finds the head, I think, of Yardy. I don't know who that was out there, but he almost found it. But, like, what the hell is Volsper doing?
What? Okay.
Like, let's be so for real. What is that Vulcan canister gonna stop? I mean, what?
I truly am just kind of flabbergasted. I really have nothing else to say. That's just kind of a odd position to be in with 30 seconds into the round. You're in active play, and you're just now trying to put that Vulcan canister down. That's just a little odd from Volsper, but okay, Friendship Team are just going to go for it. They feel comfortable enough. They have spotted the gap. Now SpaceShoobs need to respond. They get 2 on the initial drop down. 5-4! It's only Nick left, and he cannot drop down immediately. That Vulcan canister is blocking his pathway down, and the rest of his team is dead. There's nothing that he can do to try to really salvage this round unless he can find these opposite picks of just one player all by themselves. There's at least one point of contact, Eli in the bar. There's somebody on those main stairs trying to play for that crossfire, play for that trade. So right now, SpaceShoobs have been doing excellently. He cannot do that just yet. Nick is able to find at least one, make it a 1v3.
Oh, it's Siege. You can't be like that. You trade my man. I guess it's okay. Like, he's still playing for the win con rather than Eli, who can bar. But arguably, Friendship Team did something dumber than Volsper did that route. You get the opening pick, and then you're like, guys, we're just gonna run it. Like, what? What?
It's been a lot of trolling today. Been a lot of trolling.
Like, you killed the Goyo, so you know there's a Goyo, which means if you're doing some sort of rush, chances are it's probably going to get popped on your face, which is what happened. I think 1 or 2 people died to the result of the Vulcan canister. But also, you have a free man advantage. At that point, I know if the plan was to, like, rush off the bat, call it audible. You've got a free man advantage. Just work off of that and take your time. You already are in the plus. Like, and the way that these previous attacking rounds have gone, they've been good for you. So just win the round. I don't know. It just seems silly to me. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy, because I mean, it's like, granted, once you've gotten that first kill, it's usually gone very well because the rest of the defense is kind of all scattered. They don't really play around each other very well after that first pick goes away, friendship team. But like you said, they just kind of got a little ahead of themselves. They didn't really kind of play to their advantages. They've been doing so well for these last 3 rounds, but that one, they got a little ahead of themselves, got a little overconfident, tried to speed things up when it wasn't necessarily going their way. SpaceShoobs were actually playing a much more anchored setup, so that kind of really went against friendship team in a situation where they were maybe expecting still some roamers up top, still playing to that extension somewhere, either in bar or somewhere very up top on the second floor. So SpaceShoobs adapting after that timeout proved to be very well effective, just due to the fact that friendship team didn't really do much to clear out anything else.
Well, it's exactly that. Like, you should have expected after the timeout that there was going to be some sort of adaptation, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that SpaceShoobs extensions weren't working for them, so they're probably going to bunker up on the bomb site. So why do you call a rush in, like, an adaptation phase of the game? I don't really know. I guess the idea is, well, they just took a timeout, let's just throw off whatever they talked about in their game, but, like, you've got to still identify what your opponents are doing. And I get that Shoobs may have baited a little bit of an upstairs extension with the Goyo still being upstairs and dying early on, but ultimately it's still on you to do your diligence and make sure that everything's clear. Regardless, into the next round, now we go to CCTV, and Cash and Shoobs have brought out a fairly extended position downstairs. You've got Scoob working down below, and Volsper yet again dies early on to Silent, who has been so deadly on the entry, and Scoob can't get back up the red stairs in time. He's felled by Kixro, and through 60 seconds of the round, 3 bodies are dead.
I mean, Silent just able to find so many gaps, opened up so much space for the rest of his team to kind of push behind. So that's just 2 bodies down for SpaceShoobs after Kixro gets the immediate trade after his teammate Silent got traded himself. But they're taking their time. They're not getting ahead of themselves. They're just making sure they can still open up as much space as possible. Yardi using those floors, Rotero drones to play around. Still 2 smoke babes from Exige to kind of play around, but not really a whole lot else. Toaster with a C4 as well. But where is he going to have to play around? Eli down below is able to actually get one onto Eddie, making it even 3v3, but still, friendship team look primed for the execute at this point.
They are, but they're getting stalled out by those toxic babes from Exige, and now you have to worry about the player down below because the case was dropped. I believe Eli has rotated back up through the construction side of the map. Yep, you can see him working his way up the master stairs now. Nick worried about a run out potentially, but due to those toxic babes slowing down the attack, slowing down any sort of fast entry, this is great play by the Shoobs on their defense, trying to work together, trying to rotate. As now you see Friendship doing some rotation of their own, getting a player outside the main breach, but now instead deciding to go garage. So Friendship team still trying to figure out exactly what they want to do for this push.
And it seems that Eli's just at least prepping a jump out onto that CCTV window. Nobody's there yet as that plant starts to go down. Wary of the C4 coming up, but nearly gives himself up. Actually able to take down Eli on the swing and goes right back to the plant. Exige trying to take up some of the initiative, but there's still the coverage from the rest of Friendship team there for the response, and Nick comes through on the Raptors position. Came to a very close gunfight, a lot of trades at the very end, but Nick comes out on top for Friendship.
Man, this is what I love about Siege. Like, it's not even the final gunfights in the round that actually determine the round end. It's the Fenrir losing the engagement to the ace who was planting. Like, Kixro got off. He wasn't even looking at the Fenrir, but because Eli missed those shots, Kixro gets that kill, and now the man advantage is in favor of Friendship. And what can they do at the end of the round? Play for trades. They start to bait out the plan again, and they have just enough bodies to trade out and get the job done. Even if they lose the first pick, they trade immediately back, then it's traded again, and ultimately it's just a numbers game at that point. 3v2, the team with 3 is going to win that trade battle.
I mean, that's just kind of what Friendship team has done best, even before they lost Wi-Fi after the Element 4 finals. They just play around each other so damn well. That's kind of one of their biggest strengths. It's just when they play coordinated, they play together, they are almost unstoppable. Very few teams were able to actually do anything to remotely stop them in their tracks. SpaceShoobs just kind of feeling the full brunt of that, even with a sub in. Yardi still trying to kind of get adequate with the system even short notice. but SpaceShoobs just need to kind of slow things down. Round number 4 was the best example of when they kind of played a little bit closer together. They can stop this in their tracks and actually make sure that Friendship Team, if they get overly aggressive, will be shut down. But they just need to start to slow things down because they've been just letting Friendship Team do whatever. They've been letting them get the opening pick so often. They just need to find a way to counteract that.
Friendship Team have looked really good on their attacks, at least so far. And look at how fast they're just going to walk in. Silent bodies, Eli, off of almost no information, just takes a guess and ends up hitting the shots. And this is the problem that Shoobs have had. Where's the refrag? Where's the trade? Nobody in a position. The closest body is Volsper, but I don't think that Eli was even ready to take an engagement that fast. And that's something that Friendship Team, you've got to commend them on. Their pacing, their tempo in this game has been unpredictable. And that's what SpaceShoobs have struggled with thus far. Volsper finally gets his first kill this series on the board. And that's a big body to drop down. Silent, a little over-aggressive. Should be using utility, flashbangs, grenades, something to force that body out. Then go for the swing. You've got a better chance, but it doesn't matter. Friendship Team are just cleaning up house, forcing Shoobs to go for these swings, and everybody on Shoobs is losing their engagements, except for Scoobs inside of Logi. Does find Nick, but immediately traded out by Yardy, and Friendship Team take a 5-1 attacking split on Clubhouse.
And something about that, just try to re-aggress onto the cash side when you already know that Friendship Team are basically going to take that no matter what. You've already seen that they're establishing a lot of these cutoffs on other positions like that construction window, but just still try to aggress. You try to find some of these trades back to make sure that the bleeding isn't nearly as bad as it was if you just kind of gave up that space. That's something I didn't quite like from them in that moment, because the Mira just getting caught out as he's rotating back from that cash doorway deeper and closer to the bomb site, and then getting cut off by the ace, just on the lookout, making sure he can't fall back, doing his job in that round. And overall, just SpaceShoobs just kind of playing a little bit overly aggressive. They recognize that this is a full cash side hit. We need to stop Friendship Team from taking ground so quickly. We need to really slow them down because they got that early kill so fast. Silent took the initiative, got the first kill onto Eli, and then eventually got shut down by Volsper. But they just didn't relent any further beyond that. SpaceShoobs just tried to slow down Friendship Team, but they just get punished for it so quickly.
Yes, feels like a completely different SpaceShoobs than what we saw in the regular season. They don't seem all together and coordinated, as well as their struggles with just defense in general, like gunplay. Volsper's down early on to Silent, who's going for a spawn peek. Like what? Fortunately, Toaster does find the kill, but I mean, Volsper's low HP. Silent on the Surya gates doesn't really need to do that much. Kickstar is going to be aggressive, but like when you're up 5-1, I guess why not? Right? Go farm for those kills, go hunt for those kills, because you've given yourself a nice little advantage, especially with the defensive side being the more favorable side of things. Like, I just think that SpaceShoobs made the adjustment after the timeout and then completely forgot everything they were told.
Just unfortunate that they're just not able to quite adapt as nearly as much as you would like after that initial timeout, where they looked good after that initial call. Volsper kind of just did a little bit of trolling in the middle of stock, but beyond that, that was a very good round 4 win that they got, and that's been their only bit of marginal success, is just that one singular round. They are going to have to give up that mirror. Oh, actually are able to get that mirror window. Got shot out under Yardy's feet, quite literally. So now, just a little bit of utility now taken away from Friendship Team. After getting that first opening pick, they can now start to open up a lot of this space. They've got the ramp to start opening up these floors. There's not really a whole lot to stop them from getting this hatch open beyond the Kai just sitting on that kitchen hatch. Looks like he's trying to trick this somehow. Doesn't quite get that first batch. Is gonna look like he's gonna get the second one, so that's just gonna slow down SpaceShoobs, who are taking a long amount of time. Mason,
wow, Nick's doing a great job of baiting the Habana, thinking that she got rid of the Kaid Electroclaw when those pellets exploded on the side of the hatch, but actually they hadn't. Instead, it was Nick who had tricked the hatch or pulled the Electroclaw off, threw the new one on, forcing that waste of utility, forcing the waste of the clock. There's only 60 seconds left. And SpaceShoobs, albeit they've made good progress, they are slow. And now they have to contest with Kixroll on main stairs here. They've got the cut back held by Volsper here, but this is not an easy fight to at least get the kill on and confirm the body. But as well, he does fall back, and fortunately enough, Bolster is there, finds the headshot, well-placed shots by him, but Eddie gets aggressive on Eli inside of blue, and all of a sudden, SpaceShoobs, a little bit of counterplay against them, have stalled them out even further. And look at Nick under the kitchen hatch, could completely stuff this take if Exige is not aware of the K's positioning. And there's the C4, it comes from down below, and now you could just hide. All you have to do is play for time because it's on your side. It's the inevitable fourth man coming in play for the defensive friendship team. And there's the case down on the kitchen hatch. Another body coming into Armory, but all you have to do is survive. The clock's working against SpaceShoobs, and there it is. Friendship team get the win. Barbed wire confirming the kill on the Toaster. And their first defense goes very, very easily due to the clock management being poor on the side of SpaceShoobs.
I mean, in a round where arguably not a lot went right for Friendship Team. They got the very early death from just trying to get an over-aggressive spawn peak, which, okay, you're 5-1 up, whatever, it's fine. It's not the end of the world if he loses that, because you do still have a great big buffer. But if you do get that, then it's great. But he lost it, and then a lot of their utility was taken away on the bomb site. They lost a mirror window on that triple wall facing the main stairs area. A lot of their site setup overall just was kind of not exactly the strongest, but even still, beyond that, they just took so much time away from SpaceShoobs. Kixrow eventually dies on the main stairs, but look at how much time he wasted. He wasted up to 30 seconds on those main stairs, smoking off those stairs, making sure that nobody can swing off contact, and then eventually, as soon as he's out, he eventually rotates back, and there's only a minute left. He's just wasting his time. That's exactly what he did. SpaceShoobs just needed to be a little bit more expeditious about how fast they were going, because they just took so much time, didn't really clear anything beyond the main stairs, and just really got stalled out at the very end of that round.
And they had a 5-on-3 by the time they got to the execute. Like, that's something that you have to be able to convert on. You have to be clinical on. But because of how long the Shoobs were on their attack, which it felt like Friendship Team were kind of taking their time on their side of things. So the fact that SpaceShoobs were even slower and their full team, the expected team that they've been practicing with, is a pretty big shock. And they definitely need to step it up because they've already used their tac timeout. So they have to figure it out internally. There's no outside help that's going to be able to assist them. They're not also able to slow down the momentum that has been built up by Friendship Team. So SpaceShoobs have a big hole to climb out of. Now, fortunately, this is not their map pick. Their map pick is Border, which is the next map. And that is obviously one that we have some concerns on for both sides of the ball. Serious, especially with Shoobs' history being rather minimal here, or in that next map. So ultimately for SpaceShoobs, this is a map you might even have to almost chalk up to an L. But Eddie with the double trick on the jacuzzi wall? I mean, the Shoobs can't even open up the damn jacuzzi wall on Clubhouse. Like, come on.
I mean, this is not as bad as the Carnico game that I casted in the qualifiers, where nobody could open up any wall in this map. Oh wait, no, it was against Guac. I forget what the team name was, but I know you know who I'm talking about.
Oh,
but
it was Iris. It must have been Iris. And
it was Iris.
YHP.
But regardless, it was not great. No walls could get open, but they are able to get open that construction wall to kind of establish some of that cutoff to make sure that nobody can rotate back from the cache side. But the rest of the Friendship Team is actually just kind of anchored back on the bomb site. They're not relenting from that position, just leaving one player over towards the end of the side. It's going to be Kixrow just holding down the fort, as now they finally get that wall open, but there's only a minute 10 left on the clock, Mason, and he's already bandit tricking off that bathroom wall to make sure that mirror window is going to be locked off for the rest of the round. So Friendship Team still have so much utility in their path.
Well, you can't open up the mirror window, but you can at least shatter it with the Ash breaching charge. And there's a couple nice picks. Eli and Scoob both getting in on the action, and now Scoob with a second as well. Friendship Team falling apart at the hands of Shoobs, who were just outside of the balcony. They've really done nothing all round. They couldn't even hardly get the jacuzzi wall open. I mean, all you had to do as Friendship Team is stand still, and instead you've given the Shoobs a way and an avenue back into this round. And if you continue to do that, you could give them an avenue back into this game, back into this map, and potentially fumble your own map pick. Now, it does look like the Shoobs could convert on this round. Yardi hops out, finds one, but can't land the shots on the Ash. C4 comes out, it lands its mark, and now Yardi is trying to get inside. He avoids the shots through the floor, and with no C4, can't deny the plant going down. So he'll have to work a 1v2 raw up the main stairs as the case has gone to the floor. 1v2, Yardy up the main stairs, but he doesn't have enough information. It's an easy kill for Exceed to lock out on from behind the bomb chassis, and Shoobs do find their way back into the round after they struggle with the fundamentals.
I mean, they effectively still got enough done. I thought Friendship Team still had enough utility on the site that they could just sit behind and really anchor down to make it difficult for SpaceShoobs to get really anything else done beyond getting that jacuzzi wall open. But they still found a way anyway. They got a couple of key picks onto players inside the bomb site, especially on the extension over towards that cache side. That was really pivotal to making sure that Friendship Team couldn't have any explosive plays towards the end of that round. Yardy himself tries to do that, gets a little bit of an unexpected hop out onto the two players on that highway balcony. But even then, by that point, SpaceShoobs had already established enough control, killed enough players in their wake to make sure they could still get onto the bomb site, get that plant down, and make it an unwinnable 1v2 scenario for Yardy. So unfortunately for them, just getting a little bit picked off, and I don't even know how, because we just kind of missed that in the flurry of kills that SpaceShoobs got, but they still got a couple of nice key picks onto players just in power positions, and that really enabled them to get into that plant spot that they got at the very end.
I think that Friendship just got a little silly last round. They were feeling a little flowy because ultimately that site should be easy enough to defend. You're very used to the jacuzzi wall being open, and the fact that there was no pressure in bathroom to open up that wall, so now you have the power position. You can still play in behind Jim because the castle barricade. I guess it had been dealt with, so you couldn't really play inside of Jim, but you still had all of Logi, all of construction that you could have been extended to. And it seemed like Friendship Team either gave up control of that side of the map too fast and never really fought back, or ultimately just got caught in poor rotation. And the Shoobs did a nice job of recovering that round because it was not looking good off the back gate. It was not a good showing from them, but fortunately they've recovered, and now they can work their attack here on CCTV and Cash. You've got the Zofia working down below, the Terror drones distracting as well, and the main wall opened up. So this is nice demonstration of the fundamentals that they are comfortable with, that they are aware that they have, and they are able to handle that main wall being open.
Taking away so much map control away from Friendship Team, nobody can really safely play downstairs and lounge, so that's a little bit of free map control. That's one of the players of SpaceShoobs can start to rotate around, take that position away, and possibly put some pressure onto Silent, who's just playing on this Raptors position up top, but they don't have a whole lot to actually clear him out. You can possibly use some of these last few concussion mines from Exige, but there's not a whole lot to actually clear him. There's no Capital, so you can't flame him out, and there's no grenades on top of that either. You just kind of have to rely upon the 3 flashbangs, the 2 concussions to really clear out that position unless they rotate around. But Eddie, just on the lurk over on the opposite end of the map, finds a free pick onto Exige, so there's no more of those concussions.
Eddie able to tame the MP7 at the very end of that spray onto Eli, finds that kill. Both for now starting to heat up a little bit more in this match. Kill on the Kicksrow, and that's nice coverage. The ace outside with the diffuser, the only source of hard breaching left to get that construction wall open, which is what SpaceShoobs have elected to go for with their full rotation, but they still haven't dealt with Eddie, who still lurks, who still roams inside of the master bedroom. And what information do SpaceShoobs have on this side of the map to work off of?
Drone does come through, so they're able to spot him out, but he's still hiding, just kind of proning down in the middle of the bathroom, so they don't know 100% where he went. Still gets a small idea, just sprays through the wall, and eventually Toaster does get the kill onto Eddie. They take care of that roamer. Just need to clear out these last 2 players on the site. 30 seconds left.
Solid job by Eddie, wasting more and more time off the clock, but the wall's been opened up, so now the pressure really starts to mount against Friendship Team. No C4 to work off of, no gas grenades. It's all going to have to be done with the guns, and it's not going to be done with any of the Friendship guns. Instead, it's all off the back of Toaster, who finds the last 2. Wow, what a shot onto the player by the main breach, as well as the player on red stairs. Very nicely collected, very nicely picked up, and SpaceShoobs convert another attack.
And just very good fundamental plays coming in from SpaceShoobs. They took their time taking care of just little power positions that were established by Friendship Team, either downstairs and lounge, just making sure that Castle cannot play down there in that position to make sure that nobody can really help out Silent downstairs if they wanted to go for that garage push. They eventually started to rotate around, try to go for that bedroom side push, go for construction instead, but they still took their time, try to drone things out, make sure that Eddie cannot be continuing to enable Crucible after he gave himself up, finding that first pick onto Exige. They really slowed things down, didn't really panic. They just kind of took their drones, made sure they could find him, and then eventually took him out, made sure that Toaster had the information to take him out, and then eventually it was just cleanup duty afterwards. Just need to get closer to the bomb site, need to figure out where those players are at, and then Toaster just gets a couple of nice shots to end that round off. It's just kind of a nice pinpoint to the end of that round. So Friendship Team giving up a couple of rounds to SpaceShoobs now that they're starting to finally start to warm up a little bit, Mason.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that the Shoobs struggled with for the start and first half of this match, really, Cade, was the fact that their guns weren't hot. They weren't shooting. Volsper obviously started 0-5. You had Eli, who's been struggling and still struggling a bit. This is not a typical Eli game for himself. Even Scoop, maybe a little bit cool in there. You obviously heard that Exige had mentioned that Scoop is on a chemo week, so he's probably feeling a little bit down, maybe a little less energetic than compared to normal, but still, I've seen Scoob go through the worst of the worst and still drop absolute nukes on people's heads. So I do think that ultimately the Shoobs are waking up, and that's why you're seeing them start to pull themselves through these rounds. But also, Friendship Team, a little bit sloppy in these rounds, and the refrags are just not there compared to what we saw at the beginning of this match.
And that's the big difference that we've seen since their starting attacking half. Is just the trades haven't quite been there as effectively. So they're just giving kill after kill after kill to SpaceShoobs. They're losing so much map control off the top of that to make sure that they are just enabled to kind of progress even forward after they find that first kill. So they really start to need to slow things down, going for a much more bunkered hold this time around. Only Kixrow up top in CCTV, just again as that one lurking roamer up top, just having no other support other than just trying to stall for as long as he can, make sure that SpaceShoobs has to do their due diligence and clear him out. They do eventually spot him, but where's the response? Where's the rotation to try and take him out or just completely ignore him, hit site direct?
Kixra thrives in this position, though, being that unpredictable entity up on the top floor. He's almost always good for one. I've seen him wipe out entire teams and rosters up on the top floor here, but the information seems there. But there's Kixra doing the damage, and Scoob falls to the Mossberg shotgun, and now the time continues to tickle down, continues to be a concern here for the SpaceShoobs, which is what they struggled on last time around here on the basement attack. Fortunately, they have found a trade. It's indirect, but it is on to silent. So ultimately, there's still good benefit here for the side of SpaceShoobs, but they still haven't dealt with Kixrow, and they've got Exige completely dedicated to holding the flank.
I mean, at this point, it just feels like they're trying to just completely ignore Kixrow. They know he's still up top. They aren't really doing anything to deal with him. They can't actually open up that moto hatch. So it seems like they're kind of funneled into just this kitchen drop and make sure they can get down to blue, but there's nobody else to respond. And Kixrow actually makes his way down. He escapes somehow, is now actually able to help out this blue effort.
Oh, and he just gets cut off by Eli. That's a great kill. They needed that one bad, but there's only 17 seconds, and yet again, time becomes the problem here. Fortunately, though, Toaster has dealt with the biggest problem that I saw our SpaceShoobs had faced, which was the Warden, but Nick takes a heaping of damage, and now Yardy so worried about the backside, but the fire, no way! Yardy whips! And he gets the knife, but the case goes down just in time! The Mira has the chance to deny! But he's too far out of his time and his prime, and he can't find the shot. And just by the skin of their teeth, SpaceShoobs survive the round.
Oh my God.
What the hell just happened?
What just happened? I mean...
Wait, wasn't the Mira just at, like, box 3 and, like, Blue Road? How did he get there so fast?
I'm going back in the clean fade. I need to figure this out because I have no idea. Okay, he ended what actually in church, and then just he rotated around. So yeah, that was the Cade there, but still, just that big whiff. I don't know if he actually shot the body that was still kind of falling down, or if he just completely whiffed. I mean, that's rough. Unfortunate for Yardy, not able to quite clutch that out because he had the prime opportunity to win map number 1, end this off 7-3, but it is not so. SpaceShoobs survive for another round, and they're going to the exact same bomb site, just changing up their entire lineup, going for the Scopos with Kixrow kind of realizing that if he was actually alive, he could have helped out on that entire execute if he was actually able to just kind of teleport away. So going on to that teleporting operator is going to be key, especially with how much time he wasted on that roam. So I really like this pick out of Kixro.
What is the Scopus Iron Sight pick, though? Why the irons?
I don't know.
Are they good? Are the irons good on that gun?
I don't know, but at least you can aim in faster, I guess. I forget how fast it is with the irons.
It's not that much, though. I mean, let's be so for real. There's no way Kixro is running that just so he can aim in faster.
Oops.
Silent tries to get out of the garage window and unfortunately does get felled by Eli off screen just as we swap away, but ultimately, that is not good for Friendship Team. They lose more body. No, this isn't good. Is this?
This
looks horrible.
This is terrible.
This is not usable. Ew. Just get this shit off my screen now. Thank you.
Thank you. That was some of the worst iron sights. I mean,
dude,
is that the
bad.
same one as the F2 irons? I mean, that feels worse somehow, but I mean, overall, that was just bad. I mean, there's still, wasting quite a lot of time from SpaceShoobs at the moment, still mid into the round, taking a bit of control away as far as dirt control. And actually, Volsberg taking the initiative, just going very far ahead, getting that drone info ahead of him, making sure that this is completely clear. And now is he actually going to swing out onto Eddie and shuts him down, so no more Kai tricks onto that kitchen hatch. They can open that up so much faster now.
And Kixro gets a kill just to piss me off even more with the irons onto Scoob, who was hunted down. Kixro, who now should be able to just easily plop his way back into the bomb site. Shoobs hopefully should be able to get the information though and identify that Scopus has evacuated. I'd like to see that they would get rid of the other shield there inside of Strip so that way they can't get linked late round. But ultimately, this attack has still been good for Shoobs. Yes, they've lost a body or two, but they just dart their way into the site. Nick Siege has taken out Nick. Blue control established. They don't know about the player back armory, though. But Yardy, yet again, fails to land the shots. Finally downs Toaster, but is immediately traded out by Volsberg, who now looks to take out Kixro, who's got to do it all on his own with the Scopus, and now just 1 HP to get the job done. He does find the headshot on Eli, and he might just have enough to get this kill and close out the map, but it's not enough. Exceeds with the dagger, the bearing 9 through the mirror window, and we're going 1 round away from OT. Full max regulation rounds will have to be played after Friendship Team were up 6-1 match point. Serious?
I mean, that's just kind of crazy how much this has fallen away from Friendship Team. Like you said, only 1 round away from having to go to overtime, and it is infinite OT, so this may go on for quite a while unless
you really
they are able to. Say it,
I do.
Like,
you really said it.
Did you really not watch the game from Core and Slime Belief yesterday? That was just ridiculous. But regardless, yeah, you were there.
I was there.
You were there. I mean,
I wish I wasn't, but I was.
It was a long one. I'll give you that. But regardless, SpaceShoobs have been able to claw their way back just due to very good fundamental play and just very big moments out of some key players just really winning some of these closer rounds. Just overall, doing a very nice job to make sure that Friendship Team cannot continue with this aggressive play. They're kind of playing a little bit off of the fundamentals, playing a little bit more aggro, just trying to get these kills and not play around each other nearly as much. So now SpaceShoobs punishing them for not doing the due diligence that they need, not crossing their I's, not dotting their T's, or getting that backwards. I messed that up, Mason. Feel free to flame me.
You
did.
Cross your I's and dot your T's in your world, your alternate universe.
My alternate universe. I reject your reality and substitute my own.
That is Texas.
Yes. Whoops.
You guys are like the new Florida or the new California.
Oh, and not Oklahoma. They're 50th in education, so I mean, there's that.
Damn, throwing shade. I think that's okay. I think Arizona's like 48, so I'm dumb as hell. But, like, that's besides the point. That's besides the point. Well, I'll say this: the fact that SpaceShoobs have been able to find themselves back in this game, Friendship Team need to lock it in. They gotta get back to being serious now. And Kixro, you can see, is serious. Gets the early kill onto Eli, the ace. The Selma's gone early on. That's your hard breaching utility, or at least some of your hard breaching utility. Like, that is not a good early loss, especially considering the fact that you're not going to be able to open bathroom as easily. But we've seen this before where they couldn't open bathroom as easy. They could barely get the jacuzzi wall open. and still SpaceShoobs were able to get the round win. So ultimately, it's all about Friendship Team making sure that they don't give free picks back to SpaceShoobs in the advantage they've given themselves.
And if they can still at least get some of this main stairs control, they still have an option to kind of overwhelm this bathroom player. If they can get this jacuzzi wall open, Eddie's still in the prime position to just kind of bandit trick this off. It is protected by that castle barricade on that gym window, but they're going to be doubling up on this. Sophia's stuns are just be going through. Actually, Harbreach canister just getting onto that left wall. Eddie actually is not able to actually get that off thanks to just some nice timing on those stuns. Able to get that wall open, and now they have that pressure onto jacuzzi. Now they can pressure onto this main stairs. Now that's at least an avenue in, but they need to get a little bit further, find that other opening point.
Very well done, but it's exactly as you mentioned, Cade. What ultimately is the plan for the attack here of SpaceShoobs? They're down a man, they're down utility, the hard breacher obviously not available. You have no more Sophia concussion impacts, and wow, Scoob just walks it down below, dusts Nick, but Nick as well dusting Scoob. As now it looks like SpaceShoobs just want to dart their way in, but they have not dealt with the player on the bathroom mirror. Fortunately, though, Volsper's there for the trade, the refrag, and it's down to the Thermite Thatcher, peanut butter and jelly, as good as ever to get the job done against who else but Yardy and Silent, defending the bomb site as best they can. Toaster's made his way up the main stairs, and I don't think that the castle knows, but Silent does. Toaster, who missed the shot, a rare whiff for the support player on Shoobs. And now Volsper forced in a 1-on-2, can't land the shots, doesn't even get a chance to get a bullet off. Yardy with the dagger to finish off the map. And finally, Friendship Team just had to tease us long enough to get us into the max of regulation and send us into map 2 with Friendship Team winning their own pick.
I mean, just an absolute initiation play from Silent, just taking care of that main stairs player. I don't know how he won that fight with the worst gun in the game, but still, he does that anyway. Shuts down any attempt by SpaceShoobs to win out that very last round of round number 12. But regardless, just unfortunate for SpaceShoobs mounting a bit of a comeback. They just can't quite do enough. They got their fundamentals down, but just unfortunately could not do it, could get over the finishing line at the very end of it. And now Friendship Team have map number 1 under their belt, moving into map number 2 at Border.
Yeah, Border is a map that we were concerned about for both sides of the ball, but maybe a little bit more for SpaceShoobs due to their lack of history on it. But just to wrap up my kind of final thoughts on map 1, Yardy had 13 kills, went 13-7. As the sub, as a player who's unfamiliar with the system of Friendship Team, who did tune their aggressive play back, I think, but still ultimately showed some of that ability in this match. So the fact that they're still able to maintain some of that consistency, not all of it, of course, definitely not nearly as dominant as what we would see in like Element with Wi-Fi on the team, but still rather solid play, is a bit concerning for SpaceShoobs and for teams in the future who may face up against Friendship Team should they close out this series.
Well, we'll just have to see if they can continue to ride that momentum as we take a quick break, and we'll send it to map number 2 at Border after this. What does that even mean? I don't know. Yeah, say. To a different jersey? Which one do you got?
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with map number 2, soon to come to fruition here between SpaceShoobs and Friendship Team. Sorry, there was something funny that just happened. Anyway, serious. It's been a fun map one. We saw some moments between both teams of concern, but also of good oversight, I guess. So like, it wasn't a bad map overall. But there were definitely moments where Friendship Team struggled where they were successful, and the same could be said for SpaceShoobs. Most notably, the defensive side of the map. I felt like both teams were not very good on, not very proficient at all. When it came to refrags especially, it felt like the trades on the defensive side, which is the weirdest thing in general, was just not all there.
In what is normally a good map for both of these teams on the defense, but regardless, just not able to quite get those wins out very consistently. The attack kind of ran away with a lot of these things just due to kind of very sloppy play from some of these defensive setups, just some players getting over aggressive in situations where they didn't need to. So like you said, just a lot of things that weren't quite going their way for both teams. So overall, just kind of need to clean things up going to map 2 of Border. But I think once again, SpaceShoobs are starting off on the defense, if I actually remember correctly, so this is going to be an interesting one, considering that they are starting on the side that both teams very much struggled on map number 1.
Especially on Border, which is a attack-sided map, at least traditionally. Teams are good on the attack there, but we did just see teams be extremely good on the attack on Clubhouse, so maybe it's the opposite day.
Flip-up. It's kind of opposite.
Could
a lot of trolling in terms of our just understanding of the game.
I mean, I'm wearing an M80 jersey. So
yeah, you would know. You're a big Stomp It fan, don't you know?
Yeah, Stomp It fan, I guess, apparently, right?
Yeah, apparently.
They get picked up yesterday, and I've already got the order. I actually paid like $150 just for this to get in today.
You saw the future. This is why you're an analyst. You know exactly what's going to happen.
That's exactly what I did.
Oh boy, but I mean, this should be a very exciting map number 2 of Border, because I mean, we saw it earlier with JJ and Co beating Cruelty on it, and map number 3. So I mean, I'm expecting a lot of good things, especially if they kind of start to clean some of these mistakes that we've been noticing, not playing into those trades, not playing into fundamentals nearly as well on the defense. Could make it a lot harder for the attack to really get things going, get into the map, because this is a map that if you take a little bit of space, you've basically got control of half the map. It feels like after those first few kills go your way. Or if you're on the defense, if you just shut down some of those initial entries, there's not really a whole lot else that the attack can do. They're just kind of locked out of the bomb site, locked out of the building. So if you can stop that, then theoretically you can stop just about anything. You can really shut down a lot of these surprise plays, because this is a small map, Mesa.
Yeah, I think it's going to be rather scrappy here on Border. Ultimately, will either team have the advantage? I don't know. I feel like Friendship Team are going to struggle with those refrags here on Border, because it's such a tight quarters map and it's harder to deal with stuff. Like, ultimately, what we saw the Shoobs struggle with on their defense on Clubhouse was the fact that they were too spread out. They were too far apart from each other. Border kind of fixes that because you have to be tight. You have to be like next to each other. There's not a far extension that you can really do here. It's a rather small map. So maybe for SpaceShoobs who are starting on the defense, I thought Friendship were.
No, actually, no. SpaceShoobs are starting on defenses.
Okay.
I think actually Friendship chose to go on the attack first. Like you said, this is typically an attacker-sided map, so makes sense that they would do that. So it's not their map pick. They go onto the typically better side, and Blitz actually being banned out, really limiting a lot of these explosive plays coming out. We didn't see a whole lot of shields in that last map. We saw a couple of instances of it.
Monty more so.
Saw Monty, but didn't really have a ton of impact throughout the rounds. There were some instances, right? Actually, no. Yardy had one instance of Blitz on the top floor, clearing out the one roamer. That was kind of it. So I was a bit surprised. Otherwise, that's Frostband is a little bit more questionable. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
Of the season? It's got to be the first Frostband of the season.
Gotta be.
I'm gonna go take a look.
Yeah, we gotta go look. We're gonna look together. That is the first one.
People. Yeah. I like Pioneers of Rainbow Six Siege. We are making history by being the first team to ban Frost in the Crucible. Let's go.
I don't
know. That's so random. I guess the Frost is just to stop rushes. Maybe they're gonna play a lot of Amaru or something. I don't know.
That would make sense. Because there is a lot of fast kind of oriented, kind of rushed design plays that you see on this map. So that would make sense if you're thinking about it that way. Otherwise, it kind of makes it difficult to get into CCTV just that little bit if you're coming in from the window, I guess, because there is a lot of that box play kind of oriented around getting in through that window. So there's a couple scenarios where that Frostband does make sense, but still, it is very rare that you will ever see that come through, which is why we're talking about it this much. But otherwise, looks like a pretty stock standard kind of hold of the Armory's Archives bomb site from SpaceShoobs, kind of extending out a little bit into all areas, holding into office, holding into break room, that CCTV room that I was just mentioning a second ago. So ultimately, it looks like a very default hold that Friendship team should know how to take apart, but they just need to get past all this utility that's being brought out.
Do you think that the Blackbeard being up would be the incentive for the Frost to be banned? Is there a chance where Eddie is the spearhead of every single attack for Friendship team because they just send Blackbeard at somebody in an isolated position, and that's how they're planning on breaking through the Shoob defense? That could be the strategy would make behind sense. It.
Yeah, that would make a ton of sense, especially this window I was just talking about, because that is commonly where you see Blackbeard go through, try to clear out CCTV, is through that window after just hopping in, taking that initial gunfight, trying to clear out that box player, or just anybody inside a break room. That's going to be the first point of contact. So getting rid of Frost would make a ton of sense in just limiting that option. Also may have some VODs on SpaceShoobs liking Frost on this map. Don't really know, haven't seen a ton, but it seems like there's just an opposite kind of take. There's not a whole lot of emphasis on this side, but now all of a sudden, as soon as I say that, Silent drops 2, just walking straight at this Armory side.
And that's the trades that you want to see, and now you have Armory control for Friendship team. Silent in the site and can begin to get the plant down off the back of the Adrenal Surge. Toaster looking to fight back. He seems to be aware of the player by half wall, but Yardy has the cover there, and Silent, or rather Scoob, can't find the angle from CCTV as the Armory wall was never fully opened up. And now Scoob, in a 1-on-4, has to fight so many different angles. Kicks off at the top of Marble, wins the swing battle, and Friendship team, yet again, just like they did on Clubhouse, start off with some great attacks.
And it kind of just, I feel like both kind of threw me off and SpaceShoobs off on just where that take was coming from in the very first place. They were coming in from much directions, kind of smoking off things over towards Archives, making sure that SpaceShoobs now have to divert their attention away from Armory, and now that enables Silent to just walk up on that balcony, take down the player near half wall, and then smoke the player coming in from that CCTV doorway, just taking care of everything, allowing themselves to get in, get that diffuser down by the lockers, just kind of threw SpaceShoobs for a loop, who had no idea where exactly that push was coming from. It was an all-encompassing take by Friendship team in a situation where they were very much playing into their fundamentals. They were playing into their strengths of just very much team coordination with a lot of things they lacked towards the end of map number 1 of Clubhouse. Very good to see that come back through, and SpaceShoobs just didn't really have much response, and I don't even think it was necessarily a lack of just kind of playing around each other. It just kind of seemed like they were caught off guard, basically.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately they just kind of lost their fights, right? You had, I think it wasn't Scoob, because Scoob was the last player alive. Maybe it was Eli on the Warden holding Armory Wall, and I think he got one, but then was just immediately traded by the Terminator of this game, who's been Silent. Like, Silent has been very, very solid in winning crucial fights. Like, I think he's had the biggest impact thus far, although he's not been necessarily the top fragger for Friendship. The kills that he's been getting have been so important, and I think that excuse me, wow, that my voice just stopped working. I think that is where yeah, my brain this game has been all over the place, but I think that's where ultimately spaceships have struggled, is allowing Silent to get those big opening picks that just completely tear a hole. Like, as soon as one spaceship member dies, it seems like everyone dies when they're on the defense.
Exige may not be very far away from death, as he's already being hunted down by Kixro. Dokkaebi Call does come out, has the information, has the audio, does toss a flashbang at him, and is going to start to hunt down that player and is able to take him out. Finds another one, just waltzing his way through to the bomb site. Eli with the one kill to respond with. That plane is going down, Mason. They don't have the coverage. They don't have the awareness of where he is.
Oh,
you're warding up above
EMP!
and you can't find him. There's not enough angles for Volsper to play off of.
It was the Thatcher EMP that denied the warning goggles, so he couldn't see through the smoke. Brilliantly played out by Friendship Team, as now the Shoobs try to fight their way back, but the timer is ticking, and there's really nothing they could do. They've got to fight against their own utility, and they've got to fight against Silent, who is just picking them apart one by one. Great execute by Friendship Team, and yet again, when one member of the Shoobs dies, they all fall down. And that's exactly been the narrative. That was the narrative on Clubhouse, and that's how it started off here on Border as well.
I mean, and again, just Kickstarter getting a little bit of that information onto Exige, just playing over towards custom side, just taking him down, and then just gets a free pick onto another player in the middle of the bomb site. Just enabled so much map control to be controlled by Friendship Team in a very quick fashion, and Spaceships have no real response. A very nice EMP that I missed the first time until you highlighted it, and stopped Volsper from denying that plant from up above after they had already taken care of all the utility that was in the middle of that ventilation room. They got rid of the Banshee, they got rid of the Mute Jammer. There's just nothing else for Spaceships to stop it other than those floor angles from up above. But now that you've disabled those glasses from Warden, they can just get the smokes off, get the plant down in the middle of the bomb site, and they can't do a damn thing about it. Spaceships are just locked out of their own bomb site, like you mentioned, and they can't do a damn thing about it. Friendship Team phenomenally executing upon Spaceships at the moment, who just cannot seem to respond.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I mean, what did Spaceships talk about in between maps? Like, the problems are consistent between the two so far. The other big issue is only Eli has kills so far here on Border through the first 2 rounds. Now, taking some time to warm up, but we've already been through a map. So it's not like Spaceships need a real warm-up. They're just not killing. Like, that, it's just that simple. Like, they're just not shooting back. Like, Friendship Team are just outgunning Spaceships in every facet of the game so far. And look, I mean, Silence just walked in down below with no care at all. There's a little bit of drone information, but there's not really much that he's working off of. He's just hunting down below for free.
I mean, he split the gaff of the guy on the metal stairs and somebody over towards bathroom kind of teller's area. So he's kind of just in the middle of these two roamers, just kind of somewhere downstairs. Information onto one comes through, but doesn't know about Scoob until he swings out and misses a couple of key pivotal shots. Silent able to take him down, and now he can fully focus onto this last player, Volsper, just sitting in the middle of workshop, but now they're wholly focusing on taking him down, finally double up and find 2 off of that. Nice kind of team play from Spaceships to kind of recover.
They're all downstairs. They're all off-site. That's going to give Kickstar the gap in through office. And you see he's making waves in through. Finds one onto Exige, but Volsper fortunately just shuts him down in time. Eddie, though, gets one, and Nick has found the last 2. Friendship Team. What happens when one dies from Spaceships? They all fall down, and it just continues to be the same pattern. And it's like, what is it when you're seeing the same thing over and over again? It's deja vu. From map 1, 3-0 to start the attack for Friendship Team, and attack timeout for Spaceships. To probably talk about the same thing that they had to talk about on map 1. Hey guys, can we not die solo alone?
Evidently not, because it keeps happening to them, Mason, especially on their defenses. That's something that they kind of fix on their attacks on Clubhouse, but we'll have to see if they can do that. But yeah, your biggest point of concern is just you're dying so early on, and as soon as Friendship Team even finds at least one kill, it seems that they just control so much space after that. Kixro just feels so confident just bursting through after he finds one because, well, there's nobody else to really kind of stop him from doing so. They're so far off. There's not anything to stop him from the initial entry that he just continues to push forward. Does get shut down to his a little bit overconfidence, but still, SpaceShoobs just don't have any real idea of where these other players are coming in from that office window, coming in from the archives window as well. There's just not a whole lot to stop them in their tracks. Friendship Team are just so enabled to keep doing these small aggressive plays to take key pivotal points away from SpaceShoobs, and they just keep letting it happen to them, Mason. I mean, we saw it on Clubhouse. We see it here for these first three maps, or first three rounds of Order. What is the point of emphasis for them going into this next round going to have to be? Because last time it was playing a little bit more anchor, playing a little bit closer together, but Order doesn't quite allow that nearly as much. You need to have a little bit more control because this is, again, a very small map where you need to have more control and have to play a little bit further apart if you want to establish that control.
But you can group up more because this is a smaller map, right? And that's what SpaceShoobs need to do. Ultimately, they're not grouped in the proper positions, and they're not grouped up together. And Friendship Team are just exposing those gaps. You saw Silent last round be able to walk all the way through Customs, all the way through Blue Hole into Bathroom, split two defenders. Like, you can't let that happen if you're SpaceShoobs. The gaps are being exposed. The information is there for Friendship Team. Ultimately, something has to be shut down. And part of it is the information, but also the other part is just the general team play that SpaceShoobs need to improve on. And here's a rush play coming from Friendship Team. You've got the Blitz, the Monty, the Glaz. I mean, this is all telegraphed and very easy to read into. EMP comes through, but fortunately, you've got the Gas Babes to deny for now as bodies are dying upstairs, but to jump in, not to come through.
Nice kind of smoke base coming in at key pivotal times by Exige, but just a 1-for-1 trade. Takes down the Blackbeard for the Bandit. I'd say that's worthwhile, but Kixra again, somehow sneaking his way through, gets shut down by Volspar on the hatch, and there's just a full-on onslaught up top. Now full control for Friendship Team up above. There's nobody left for SpaceShoobs except for Exige, just stuck in the middle of a corner in the middle of the bathroom. Now, what's the point of emphasis? Because he has no real control to play off of. He has to play very careful here. Minute 40 left. There's just so much time for Friendship Team to just drone out his position and eventually get that kill, and they spot him out.
What the hell is going on? I mean, fortunately, it seems like Friendship Team have information. They've got enough to be able to drone out the position of Exige, as they can also rotate together now. Silent upside down on the window, and Exige just can't handle the SMG-11 good enough to get the kill. It was the right idea to go for it, but you have to land the shots if you want to make that clutch work out. And Friendship Team win their fourth straight attack off of some absolute shenanigans up on the top floor. I mean, what the... Dude, like... Did three people or two people just hop in the office window and get multiple kills? And, like, again, trades, refrags, just the ability to shoot back. SpaceShoobs seem to have none of it, which is so shocking because they looked great in the group stage. They went, hold on, let me fact check real quick. I mean, they were the third place team. They went 2-2. They didn't look egregious or bad or anything. Like, I thought they were a decent team. I thought that they improved from Element, but this is just, I mean, this is bad.
I mean, it's not great, Mason, and the one big kind of glaringly bad thing I keep wanting to go back to is just how is Kixra allowed to just hit so many gaps? He just keeps coming from absolutely nowhere and catching SpaceShoobs off guard. Like, do you need to just bring every single information up to just bring the Legion, bring the Fenrir, bring Malusi, in which they've done exactly that, bringing as much information off just to make sure. Yeah, bring in Capcan too, because where the hell is this guy coming from? He just keeps doing it, Mason. I don't know how, but he finds a way and is able to just take away so much from SpaceShoobs. I keep highlighting it, is that after we keep highlighting it, of just once one kill goes the way of Friendship Team, they just all falls apart because they have so much key map control. They can just really shut down any play inside the bomb site, and all they have to do is just execute upon that. Scoob gets a nice opening pick onto Nick, taking down the Grim, but that's not exactly been something that they can rely upon. They've not been able to really convert on these opening picks.
And this ultimately just feels like an off day so far here for the Shoobs. But fortunately, this round is not indicative of that. A couple nice kills to start off the round. You've got Volsper and Scoob getting in on the action. Scoob got another one, and Toaster with his second. Sorry, it was Toaster, not Volsper, getting the kills early on. And those are the bodies they need to start heating up. Toaster had a very, very nice map. Scoob was a little bit quieter than usual, but still is a player that when he's shooting is very, very tough to deal with. So if SpaceShoobs can regain their focus, relock in, it is an attacker-sided map. And if they're able to salvage a 4-2 split somehow, that would be ideal. It looks like they're going to guarantee one, as barring that they don't throw a 1v5 to Eddie, which I doubt with all the utility on there, and probably with how the Shoobs want to play this round, which is everybody hide and just get R1 so we can get comfortable. But I think that this could still be a map that SpaceShoobs come back on and do rather well, especially with what we saw on Clubhouse with their attacks and how good they were.
I mean, and again, Friendship Team did pick the attacking side to start off this map for a reason. This is a attacker-sided map, but still, just the only reason we keep highlighting SpaceShoobs is just the fact that a lot of the mistakes that they keep making is just not being fixed. It's the same exact stuff from Clubhouse, exact same thing. They're not playing around each other, but this round, they've been doing a lot better at that. They've been able to shut down the early aggression as Eddie finds at least one pick onto Toaster, and wait a second, he finds another one onto Exige, splitting the defense a little bit and finds the information onto one more by that metal half wall. Now these last two defenders
way,
are
right?
just knows where this one player is. He knows there's one over towards metal. He doesn't know about the last player towards offices, but he has the information. He's getting things out for himself. He needs to take down that bulletproof camera. Is able to just shoot that out, but he needs to find these last two, but they're so spread out. I don't know that they'll be able to effectively trade this. Finds one, but can't get the shot onto Eli, who finally shuts down the madness and gives SpaceShoobs their very first round.
And he looked the right way. He just never actually clicked the mouse because he was expecting the player to be in the door, or at least, somewhere visible, not behind the cracks of the wall. And fortunately for SpaceShoobs, they are able to wrap up that round. I was looking at Liquipedia, and they have the attacker favor documented, not including the match that we've seen so far, for all rounds that are played on Border, which is actually the second least played map here in Crucible, at least when it comes to round count. The only one less is Lair, which has not been picked at all this season.
Interesting.
Which is interesting, right? That's kind of a weird one. But it is 18 attacking wins to 7 defensive wins. 72% to 28% split on the attack versus defense side on Border. So it is heavily attacker favored here.
I mean, that's a pretty good number. And I'm suddenly server deafened in Discord, so now I can finally hear again. I don't know what the hell just happened.
I don't know.
That was
either.
weird. I'm getting trolled at the moment, but it's regardless. We move. Now, all of a sudden, SpaceShoobs have at least one round win. Like you said, it can get one more to establish this into a 4-2 half for themselves, which wouldn't be exactly the worst thing on Border. Move on to their attacks, have a similar reproduction of what they did on Clubhouse. They just need to get some of these players to kind of start to come alive. Exige still doesn't have a kill yet through 5 rounds. We'll have to see if he can get one more at the very least in this very last round, but Friendship Team still looking alive and ready to just take any gunfights and just enable some of their gunners to find the gaps.
Gas grenade goes outside of East and actually does a lot of damage to Silent. Good time denial, at least so far for the Shoobs. Exige, though, in a very important position here on the East Stairs, has to deal with a couple bodies, and it's not looking so good. He just gets dusted by Silent, who hops over the rails, and now the Blackbeard gets meleeed by Volsper, but still dies? What is going on? It's just refrag heaven off the top of East Stairs, and somehow SpaceShoobs maintain that control. Scoob also takes down Kickstro, so now they've got the man advantage, but this is what they've struggled with, giving those free picks back away, the failure to refrag, the failure to trade, and it's Eddie and Yardy. Yardy off of a big map 1 has been a little bit quiet here, so this would be the great time for Friendship Team to have one of their players step up, especially the substitute, who had a lot of impact on map 1, not so much here as of yet.
Not yet, just still holding that cutoff onto that site window, making sure that nobody gets overly aggressive inside a bathroom itself. There's still so much emphasis, and again, you're talking about it before, just giving free picks away to Friendship Team. Eddie nearly had a big clutch opportunity in that last round. He's able to get one more to put it down to an even man count, 2v2. Now he's starting to open up that bathroom wall, start to put pressure onto Toaster in the middle of that bathroom and feed the guns of Yardy, just pushing back further, but he's nearly getting picked off by a nice pre-fire through the wall by Eli. How do you do that, man? Now it's all of a sudden just Yardy in a 1v2 scenario. The diffuser on the opposite end of the map, and he has no real way to get back to this. They know that Shoobs are starting to rotate around, start to kind of lock down the rest of these entryways, make sure that Yardy cannot do anything, and Eli just shutting that down, getting rid of Eddie, getting rid of Yardy, gives SpaceShoobs their second round.
And this is what we're talking about. Shoobs recover. They get the 4-2 split. They make some adaptations. Friendship Team may be a little too aggressive for their own good as well, but Shoobs are starting to heat up. They're starting to get back into the swing of things, which, again, concerning for the playoff team to be very slow in the first half of was the time to get it done. And now they have the attack on border. Now they have the more advantageous side, which I'm not even going to try to do the math of after that split. It would be 22-9.
Oh no, you're doing math on broadcast? This is dangerous.
This is dangerous. This is dangerous territory. I've got an energy drink, so I'm feeling rather confident, but it's not happening. It's not happening. Math is not a strong suit of mine, I won't lie.
Aren't you an analyst? Don't you have a spreadsheet to tell you all these math numbers?
Don't ask me about my statistics sheet and how that is.
Oh, right,
that is
because
going.
you did. You just keep pulling it off even further. I keep talking to you about this, like, when's it going to be done, Mason? It never comes.
Let's not ask that question. It's not the only thing that never. I'm not going to go there. Okay. Anyway,
what? What are we talking about?
Oh man, we here at the Crucible are having a blast. Could you imagine if you were casting with Harrison right now? I mean, I'm way cooler than that guy. And Volsper is way deader than that guy.
There are truly no words. Silent gets the first easy pick onto Volsper just on a drone. No awareness because nobody was actually watching that break room doorway. And it seems like Silent is not, is kind of unrelenting on this, just still running out. Nearly runs into the guns of Scoob, getting shut down, but dangerous game. And he's still going for this. He just does not care. And oh my god! You just did not do that! Oh my god, Silent!
Eddie tells him to hold it too. Man, poor Scoob. I wish Scoob played like that sometimes when I played him in the good old collegiate heydays. I'm just playing. I love Scoob. He's a fantastic player, but having an off day and probably an off week with some of the other circumstances, is Silent just continues to put the damage on and the pedal to the metal as Friendship Team are collecting kill after kill after kill. It's down to the Monty and the Lion of Eli and Toaster to finish it out. Pixro playing Jiggle Peak Simulator in 90 hallway, and Silent looking to close off this round with a potential ace on the board. But instead, it's Yardy and Kixro to find the last couple of kills. And my, oh my, serious, this is not looking good if you're a SpaceShoobs fan.
I mean, no, not at all. Not when Silent is literally running at guys, just jiggle peeking at Blackbeard through that CC doorway, and somehow smokes him with the recently nerfed Boss G. Just does not give a damn. I mean, getting Volsper on a drone and then just swinging out. I mean, are we really zooming in on that? Oh my god. Well, either way, that was basically just the Silent show in that very first round of the Friendship Team's defense. But I mean, that's kind of the thing I was talking about, is if you're able to stop SpaceShoobs from really entering the building or the attack in general, there's not a whole lot that they can do. They got East Stairs control, but they had no other control beyond that. They could barely step into the building. That's just some nice aggressive plays from Silent, who's been their top-rated player throughout this entire event and through all of Element, if I remember correctly. Just really enabling so much of his gunplay. Just really cannot do anything about it if you're a SpaceShoobs. Just need to find a way to shut down some of these explosive plays, but again, they just cannot seem to do that. There's no sense of a refrag on almost any single one of those engagements, Mason.
Man,
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
I mean, it's kind of just what you saw the last round of like, the spaceships just aren't shooting back. And sometimes, like, individuals will have, you know, a bad day where they're, like, not feeling it, right? They boot up the aim labs, they boot up the Kovacs shooting range if you're one of them. And, like, you're just not feeling it. But the fact that this whole team isn't feeling it, at least from what it seems, like Eli is kind of heating up now that it's the second map, but even then he's still rather quiet. Volsper's doing okay. Scoob is quiet. Toaster's quiet. Exige has a donut. Like this is rough. Not a great showing. Not what they were hoping for here in the quarterfinal match of the Crucible. But you know, there's still time to recover. There's still time to pull things back. But I think that ultimately, it's now or never. Because if you lose this round, you go to match point. It becomes a game that you have to play perfectly throughout and force overtime, which is infinite, and you don't know how that will go. So there's a lot of factors that will be left out of the control of SpaceShoobs if they lose this round. But that's not to say that now Eddie has to evacuate the top floor control. So this is nice progress so far by the SpaceShoobs.
Very good progress, and they've already forced Eddie back downstairs to the bathroom area, but he still has some of these angles that he can play around, still some floor angles he can explore from down below, but Eli finds another one onto Nick. That's going to be the Legion off the board, so just losing more manpower, losing more bodies that you can enable to hold onto the site a little bit easier. Now SpaceShoobs fortifying their position with that Nomad, just walking down those metal stairs, making sure that nobody can flank back upstairs, and Eli on a triple kill in the round, taking down Eddie. Silent needs to get aggressive onto these metal stairs if he wants to make this even a close round, but so far just getting shut down by Eli on a quad, threatening the ace in the round. And the substitute for Friendship Team, Yardy, in a 1v5 scenario, getting hunted down. Now that he's given up his position over towards Customs. Don't know exactly where he's at, but now they have the inkling, they have the info. He finds position. Eli threw a wallbang and an ace to flawless that round against Friendship Team, and what a fashion to do it.
Well, that's a good round. That's a good little momentum builder for SpaceShoobs. An ace for Eli, someone who can start to feel a little bit more pumped and had a very nice round. Said thank you. Shout out to Pyrox. Cruelty. You wouldn't be able to play Cruelty, though, should they win this match. Instead, they'd be playing JJ and Co., who had kind of a surprise upset win, I feel like, against Cruelty. Am I the only one that feels that way?
I think the only other bit of talent that actually predicted JJ was possibly Pox. If I remember correctly, it was Pox. It was Pox that was the only one that predicted JJ to win over Cruelty. So yeah, apparently everybody else was kind of surprised by that, including you and I. So overall, just kind of showing us up, and I mean, JJ himself just absolutely going nuclear against Cruelty in those last two maps. I mean, what an absolutely ridiculous showcase from him, who's not, but still. Being a guy to be able to do that is kind of insane, and whoever wins this, looking like Friendship Team at the moment, given their lead, it's going to be the ones having to take down the Deputy and Co., but we'll have to see. SpaceShoobs start to mount a little bit of this comeback. Silent, again, going very aggressive onto this break room doorway, trying to find anything with that Scorpion Evo, but Eli on the shutdown, having none of his nonsense.
Yeah, it's 6 kills straight for Eli now between last round of this one without a death. So Eli really starting to heat up. I mean, granted, that one was just kind of thrown his way. Silent's a little troll for making that play, but still, those are important kills that will go in favor of the momentum that SpaceShoobs are looking for in this match. And you can see, though, they're a little bit concerned. They're still playing rather far back outside. Hopefully, Eli can utilize the shock drone, take out some of those cameras, the information, some goo mines, Grismop mines, Valkyrie Black Eye cameras that are lingering around. And ultimately, it seems like the Shoobs are on for a solid play so far. If Toaster's a little more patient, maybe he clips the foot of the Warden. but it's a very minimal take for SpaceShoobs. You've got Volter entering in through Passport, just looking for a free pick in the bomb site itself, but a lot of members of Friendship Team are not on the bomb site. 3 of them, in fact, are all out and about. So this could be a nice gap for SpaceShoobs to hit.
Ooh, but Eddie actually rotating down those east stairs comes in at the perfect time to shut down Volsper and then shut down Toaster. On top of that, and Nick, the only one that was actually on the first floor, shutting down Scoo to make sure that nobody else can really start to enable down the map control. But now SpaceShoobs, in a round where they got the opening pick, are now falling apart. Exige finally gets his first kill in the map, able to shut down Eddie. What else is there really to do? They're so spread out at this point, kind of on opposite ends, and just try to work together in somehow, some way.
Well, Eli has been on a tear, though, so if there's anyone to pull the team back into a round, it's probably going to be him. Obviously, with coming off the ace last round, a nice kill to start off this one, but yeah, this is not looking too good if you're a fan of SpaceShoobs. But Exige finds a kill on the Kicks row, as well as Eli nearly avoiding the C4 and also nearly getting that kill. Exige outside the site window. It's going to be tricky for him to find his way in. Ultimately, it's going to have to be a play from the Twitch that gets the job done. You see a smoke grenade goes in as bait, but it's actually Eli to rotate around. But Yardy has retaken the vertical control, and Nick gets the kill onto Eli with the SMG-12. It's all down to Exige. He hops in. He's blinded. He's hit by a goo mine in the shits and try to get the case down, but it's not going to happen. Yardy has the angle, and he'll surely shut him down from above. It's match point, series points, and points to get to semifinals for Friendship Team.
I mean, Eddie just came in absolutely huge in that moment because I think he kind of highlighted there wasn't a whole lot to really stop Eddie from SpaceShoobs. He was just walking straight into the bomb site aside from that one player over towards bathroom. But Eddie rotating around to those east stairs, shutting down 2 players and really halting that entire push because it seemed like SpaceShoobs were ready to hit that go button. It's a kind of 3-2-1 moment where it's just need to find the timing, need to find that information, and then just gotta go off of it. But unfortunately, Eddie just comes in at the worst possible time in their eyes, just taking down 2 key pivotal players to that entire push, coming in from that main doorway, and then taking down another one on that east door balcony. Just unfortunate timing for SpaceShoobs in a situation where they just need to get a whole lot done. And is Kicksrow just kind of practicing his bounces with the Shamika launcher? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, he's gotta know how to do the lineups.
Gotta know it.
I mean, I feel like
Gotta
it's
know
a
it.
fairly simple lineup, but hey, there's nothing wrong with practicing in the middle of game day. When you get 20 of the launchers, I mean,
yeah, you got enough. I mean, you're not worried about wasting anything.
How often do you see all Shamika launchers used when a T'Chaka is brought? Let's be so for real.
Okay, if we're talking about Bank, I think that's a lot more likely. If we're talking about Border, though, that's not likely at all.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very rare that we even see him in the first place.
Oh man. Well, I like that Silent is trying to contest the log angle with the DMR, but it's Eli who's been on a terror these last few rounds. So I don't know if he's the body I would choose to go after to say. But he continues to hunt and look for these kills. Kicksrow also bringing the 9x19 on the T'Chaka instead of the DP27, so he's probably got an ACOG on that gun, which a lot of people forget it has the ACOG on the 9x19. It's actually a lot of fun to run. And then you've got the old-fashioned P90 being brought out by Yardy. Dude, that gun's been retired for like 2 years. Like, when was the last time you saw the P90 getting rocked on dot? And Rook.
I mean, when Solus was in her heyday, you saw a little bit more of it, but I mean, that's been a long time at this point. So yeah, it's been at least a year, I'd say, since that really got brought out. But I mean, now SpaceShoobs kind of mounting this full-on take of this office. Now Kicksrow needs to shut this down. Kicksrow finds 1, and Yardy technically finds 3 in a matter of 5 seconds, taking down his own teammate with Silent, but ultimately takes down 2 more SpaceShoobs. Now this entire east side take is completely shut down. Kicksrow finds another one, and it's only Eli on the complete opposite end of the map. 1v4 scenario, and what has otherwise been a flawless round for Friendship Team. Yardy does eventually get taken down, but this is gonna likely be it for Eli unless he gets an insane clutch opportunity.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's on the other end of the barrel. They die if it's Yardy's hand. But Eli, nice shots on the Nick. Couple taps. Gets him down and away. The 2 final players, 3 armors. It's going to be a little bit more effort here for Eli to get those kills, unless he has some well-placed headshots. You're also playing one of probably the better shooters overall on Friendship Team in Kicksruff, as well as an experienced veteran player like Eddie. So their positioning is going to be good. It's going to be tough here for Eli to really know how to hit this gap. You know, pop the smoke grenade, maybe he works in off of it, and it seems like he'll take his time. He's entered in and now has access to the bomb site. He's got case in hand, but still, the T'Chaka Shabika launcher, as well as the C4 at hand, should shut him down. And there goes the flames. But Eli sticks it. He gets the case down, but the C4 comes through. It seals the deal. Eddie to close it out. And Friendship Team win Border 7-3 against the SpaceShoobs, who pick into their own demise and domain. And that was a concern you had brought up, Cade. Border, is that really the right pick? And unfortunately, tonight, it just seemed like that was not the case.
I mean, took a bit of a gamble, kind of playing into the fact that Friendship Team may be playing a little bit weaker just due to the fact that they've not had a consistent fifth. And overall, very similar map pool, so you don't want to go to their strongest maps as well. So picking Border, while it was a risk, did not pay off. I like the admiration because it's not also a great map for Friendship Team, but ultimately, even with that rotating fifth, they're still able to close it out, convincingly more so on map number 2 in 7-3 fashion, where they let SpaceShoobs get closer on map number 1. But I mean, it was just a dominant showcase from to just really stop them on their attacking half.
Yeah, it just felt like SpaceShoobs struggled on both sides of the ball. Well, I guess you can't really say the ball because we're playing a shooter. But if you were to make a sports ball reference, then they were struggling on both the attack and the defense, or the offense and the defense. And ultimately, it just didn't feel like it was their day. They didn't show up as well as you would expect, and they were not shooting back nearly as good as they probably could have. But here you are. Here's your playoff bracket. Semifinals up next. Those will be happening tomorrow night, same time around. We'll figure out the timing of the games, of course, rather soon, and those will be announced on the socials. But you've got Core Gaming versus M80X, as well as JJ & Co. and Friendship Team. A lot of familiar opponents, and Core plays second tomorrow, right? So that means the M80X and Core Gaming match will take up behind JJ & Co. and Friendship Team, which will be the first match of the day at, I want to say, 7 Eastern or 6 Eastern? 6 Eastern, okay.
I mean, it should be a very exciting game. So, I mean, overall, don't want to miss this action. I mean, I know everybody's going to want to see Stompin' on that later game. But, I mean, Friendship Team and JJ & Co. should still be very exciting with the amount of amazing gunners that came through in both series today. I mean, that's just overall going to be a very electrifying showcase in that very first matchup.
Plus, it's JJ. You saw how much energy he was given on the player cam today. So I can only imagine what he's going to be bringing tomorrow. We'll also have a desk tomorrow, so that should be fun to be a part of. It'll be myself, CDAPS, and Yali. So we're excited to bring you all a little bit more insight around the back end of things. But Cade, it's been a blast. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to be on your side. Thanks for everybody who's watching, as well as the staff behind the scenes. We'll see you all tomorrow with semifinals of the Crucible.